Well, hello, paradigm shifters. Woohoo! Welcome to Transformation Tuesday, 2023 edition, where we're vibrantly free in 2023. We have been paradigm shifting since 2020. Every Tuesday, we come on with guest presenters on different topics. So, Paradigm Shifters is a dedicated, growing and glowing global community dedicated to shift and uplift the planet. And I love it that we're in 56 countries now, and that there's messages from all over the globe to shift and to uplift. So I am super excited that this January our topic is living a peace-filled life. And I'm going to present to you one of my buddies, my good buddies, who I haven't actually been on the water with you, Deb, but
No.
I've been on the water. We're water freaks. And I wanted to start off, before we get going, I introduce you with a poster that I have on the wall here. And it's a poster of a sailboat sailing in the moon, and the word is risk under it. And I try to live by this quote: "You cannot discover new oceans unless you have the courage to lose sight of the." All about courage. So I'm going to introduce Deb. So, Deb Marlor, all right. So, as an award-winning entrepreneur with over 35 years of demonstrated success in creating and developing sales teams, leading demand generation activities for Fortune 500 sales teams, generating millions in revenue for channel sales programs, and strengthening client pipelines, Deb made a decision to sell her company. So she returned to the basic foundational root system that allowed her to grow, prosper, and continue her personal and transformation journey. Isn't that what we always want, everybody here? So Deb and her husband sold their home and moved aboard their Beneteau Oceanus 38-foot sailboat. I think that's right.
Yeah.
And the sailboat is called Simplicity, full time. Now listen to this. They sailed the west coast of the United States from Seattle, Puget Sound to the San Juans, to San Diego, from Houston, Texas to Florida, stopping in Pensacola, Key West, and on up to Maine and the extensive Bahama Islands, including the Abacos. I might have a hard time saying these. Eleuthera and Exumas, traveling 20,000 nautical miles along the Pacific, Gulf of Mexico, and Atlantic coastlines. And we are here to talk about living a peace-filled life. So Deb, this is all yours. And we'd love to have you come in, talk to us about your why, what it was that made you make the shift, and just anything about what we can glean from your journeys.
Sure. Thanks, Judy. And thank you everyone for being here today. And as a young girl back in my 20s on Lake Erie, I found something come into my heart about sailing. I used to race, and I went off and did my career in technology and being an entrepreneur. And I found it vibrant and constant. It was always a push. It was always a proof that I could do something. And my life has been filled with amazing opportunities, if you will. I met my husband at a $2 blackjack table. Computer show in the world. in 1987, and we've now been married for 34 years. Both of us have had a love of the water, and that continues to grow. And what we find on the water is this inordinate amount of peace and joy. I mean, as you can look around behind me, this isn't a screensaver. This is my backyard. This is what is where I am today. And Judy, I want to add, just so people do know this, we spent last year in 2022 traveling 6 months, 10 countries. So add on to what you stated, we've now done 24,000 nautical miles, and we are in Grenada. So that the adventure of being able to design my life, when I being on this boat, probably one of the least peaceful things that ever happened to me was being struck by lightning. And that happened in 2018. And a month after we got struck by lightning, we had to be towed in by the Coast Guard, which we were very fortunate that they were willing to do. It's a very long story. I'm published in Sail Magazine with the story, but the bigger opportunity in that was the way in which my husband and I worked together through that, and that it was all done in a calmness and that understanding that there was no place for anything other than calm and staying conscious in the moment. And very shortly after that happened was when Mary Morrissey, our mentor, showed up in my world. And I'd known who she was in the periphery because I've been doing transformational studies since 1979. I started under Werner Erhard in those days. And so I've always had this striving for and wanting to learn about transformational disciplines. And Mary popped up, and I knew that for me, that was what I was next for me, because I really had been floundering since 2016 as to what my purpose was. I'd sold the company, and we were traveling a lot, as you mentioned, and it was constant. It was rigorous and constant. And when we arrived in Grenada, July 3rd of 2022, what I noticed that had started to occur was a shift in me. And that shift was really quite dramatic, where I had slowed down to a very noticeable shift and change in me, that my thinking had changed, that I was living my practices. I was daily doing the work. My company is Discover Your Ocean Dream. So I support people who have an ocean dream, and so that they can discover this beauty and wonderful, peaceful existence themselves. But when I go diving, which I had never done until last year, it was the first time I went diving, because I had fallen into the trap of believing that it was something I couldn't do. And last year, when in I guess it was 2022. No, it was 2021. So it's been 2 years. I've now done 65 dives. My deepest dive is 100 feet, 112 feet. And there is such tranquility when you go underneath the water, but you can also have that tranquility on top of the water with just the simple breeze coming through your hair. You can feel the salt on your face. You can feel the ocean and smell it. And I was always moving at such a pace in my career that I didn't have time. And what I did have back in 2016 and 14 was this immense desire to be on my boat, this draw, that discontent. And I didn't know the how. In fact, I was told it wasn't possible again to sell my company. It was a boutique company and that would never happen. And a gentleman showed up in my world and he bought my company and finished his contingencies in 2016. I self-financed it and he paid me out. And here I am. And this shift in me is extraordinary. And it is, it's almost, I'm going to say softness. It's pliable. It's unique. And I marvel at it on a daily basis because I can see it in me. And that I'm not running at the tasks and the having to do's. What I am is relishing in this moment and being so grateful that this is where I live. And the extraordinary amount of gratefulness that I have in my life allows me to flourish and have an abundant life. And I see the principles at work. And so, there's this closeness to God. When you showed the picture of the sailboat with the full moon, well, 2 nights ago we had a full moon, and I'm sitting exactly where I was sitting here in the cockpit of my boat and looking at the mountain behind me as as the moon is rising and coming up over the mountain. And there are a few clouds and it's absolutely stunning. There is this magnificence every day, multiple times a day, that gets presented to me in a way that is just unbelievable. I don't know, sometimes the words, which is pretty unusual for me that the words escape me, because I'm usually pretty able to articulate with words, but it is extraordinary. And the calmness, here I am, a 67-year-old woman, and my blood pressure is 120/78. Never taken a blood pressure pill in my life. This year, when I went back to the United States, which was the first time I'd done that I did that in September. I went in to a store and I started to try on dresses. And all of a sudden I'm down to a size medium. And I had started at an extra large, and everything has taken shape in a calm, easy manner. And there was not a tension like there used to be. Every morning I would be up at 5:30. I would be at the Pilates instructor by 6. I would be in the office by 7, and then I would be home and have dinner on the table by 8 o'clock, and then in bed by 10, and start that all over again every day. And Saturdays and Sundays were catch-up days for whatever work needed to be done. Boom. And that was life. And now life is extraordinary.
Well, so can you tell me the moment when you made the decision? Because we could all sit and dream about it until that decisive moment. What was that moment like? And I am so, I also want to hear more about your relationship with your husband.
Mhm.
The relationship, it's not just you, right? And your family. I know you have kids too. We've
Yeah.
talked over the years. And when we were talking last week, I'm like, wow, there's a piece in her now. I haven't seen it all. I don't, anyway, I would really like to have you talk maybe about making the decision. Was it a joint decision, and where that was, and
Sure.
where
Sure.
you broke through the fear of leaving something
Yeah.
for this new dream life? Can you talk about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. We were in Austin, and we were living
Austin.
in my office was on Mopac and Stack. And I had the young man who had decided to buy my company, and he and I'd been working together for 2.5 years. So we were living in an apartment complex called Coldwater, which was down by Weaver Park, right? And we were coming up for renewal, and we had trucked the boat from, so Simplicity went from the Pacific Ocean to Trinity Bay by truck. And we had been going down since November, and this was about February of 2016. And it was a Saturday, and I knew that Todd no longer needed me. That I saw Todd, and I saw him clearly operating the business and standing on my shoulders, because that was really my vision for my company, is that someone would take the foundation and the company that I had built and stand on my shoulders and continue it on. And he easily could do that. And he wanted to do that. And I knew it was my time to step away. It came to me, and it was a rainy day in Austin in February. And the girls asked us if we were going to renew our lease. And I looked at Hugh and I said, I don't think so. And he goes, why? And I said to him, I said, I think we should go to the boat. And I think we should try it on, see what we think, and see what happens. And we did that. So that was February of 2016, and we've been living on the boat since then. So he says I tricked him, and that it was a good trick, and that best decision ever. He loves the fact that I manifest adventure. I can talk about and look around here today, and it's docile and it's amazing, but Mother Nature has a fury.
Yeah.
That fury has been presented to us many, many times. So the risk that you talk about is presented, it can shift in hours. So that shift can happen, and we've had it. And you have to be willing to be afraid and walk with your fear, make sure that you are able to get to your next destination safely, and that your passengers, the souls that are with you, are also safe, as well as my husband. And I own that responsibility, and I honor it every day.
Yeah, it being out in Mother Nature and being able to shift with nature and feel the shift inside. Wow.
Yeah, Mother Nature has a way of being just like this, and an hour later there's a fury and a wrath that can show up, and you're going, well, that wasn't in the weather forecast for today. We had 12% chance of rain, and all of a sudden the wind is funneling through the mountain, through the peaks. It's called catabolic wind shifting, and it comes down through the mountains, and you can be having 30 to 35 knots of wind coming through a valley. And it can broach a boat. I've had it happen. I've been on a boat that's broached in my early years, but I watched someone in Guadeloupe have it happen too. And I'm like, oh, not happening to me. So I'm going to reef my sails and be a cautious sailor. But, it's like, it's that awareness piece and that consciousness that I am gifted with at this point in my life.
Is that conscious contact with that higher source? And what is it that source, or you, or whatever, is there a mantra or an affirmation that you go into when you see the storms coming, so that you can get to that calmness? Is there anything?
Really what it is I know that the boat is capable. I trust my boat, but I also know that I'm capable, that I've been well trained. So I've gone through significant years of training, and that even when something doesn't go as expected or something breaks, because that's what happens on boats, things break. and not at the most opportune time. And usually they happen in threes. So if something happens, then something else happens. And so it's this calamity of multiple things occurring. And I know that my breath is the most important piece of relaxing me and taking me from um, flight or fright, right? I know that. And so I breathe and I breathe deep. And then I go into, I know I can. I know I can. I know I can. And I do.
This is so good. This is really good. So there's a couple questions I want to ask you. What would you love to be known for?
Being the woman who, as I live this life, has the ability to bring this life to others who have this desire, that wanting, and they can't get away from their desk, they can't get out of the way of themselves, and supporting them in having this. The joy of this. I had 3 people in 2022 who bought boats, who are now on the water, and watching their transformation from land to water has been extraordinary.
Wow, that is really a transformation from land
Yes.
to water. If you,
Yes.
wow, it's like crossing that invisible boundary inside to have the
Yes.
courage to do that. So, what we do as a community here, Deb, is we want to know what you would love to have us hold for you in your next journey. What would you
Ah,
love? And we're going to hold that space for you and send it out to your boat.
I love that, Judy. Thank you. And that, what a gift that is, because what I would love is that I am able, continuously able to do this from where I am. That the technology, I happen to be coming to you on Starlink today, which anybody knows about those low flying satellites. Well, I'm one of the early adopters and we're on it. And so here we are having this connectivity, and it's not a cell phone, it's not a hotspot, but it's Starlink. And but what I would love is just being able to continue to um, shift in people and support them in a way that they know that they can do this too, that it is possible, and that if I can do this, they can do this. I am not special. I'm just a woman who made a decision that being in nature was how I wanted to live my life at this point, and being on the water. I can't even to see a dolphin, come sail at the bow of the boat and turn over and having their belly tickled with the it's called a pressure wave that the boat that happens when the boat pushes through the water. And it's extraordinary to have the dolphins talking to you, and they do. And nature talks to you as you are in nature. And so I just want to be that woman that people come to because they want this life.
Whoa. Wow.
Can I share a moment about my
Yeah.
husband? You
Yes. Yes.
know, uh, 34 years. We've known each other 35. As I said, we met at a $2 blackjack table, Las Vegas at Comdex 1987. So anybody who knows the technology industry knows wow, that was a long time ago. And our journey has been filled with circumstances, situations, and um, extraordinary ups and downs. But through it all, the man that found me, and I was rude to him. And I'm not going to say what I said, but I had had a number of drinks that night and I was a bit rude. And for him, it was game on. And I laugh at him in when he says that, because there's a sparkle in his eye that you see every time when he says it. And what our life was like was, he's in technology as well. He traveled, gets on planes, goes to customer sites, does deployments. I'm traveling between Austin and Boise. Both of us are seeing each other somewhere in the middle after the girls had gotten bigger. And in between that, we raised the girls. We were always at home for dinner. And just a good man, a man who wanted good, solid, loving environment for his girls, and really recognizing that our girls are as special and individual and as unique as anything. And they love to come to the boat. We don't get them often enough. And being parents that were challenged with a child with special needs was also a big confront for us, and one that really allowed us to grow. And what I know is that out of my growth, I grow, and I truly am more in love today than I was the day I met him. I am so lucky to have this man who steps up, does this life with me in such a beautiful and magnificent way, and he loves it and loves me. And it's clear, when he takes my hand in his when we're walking in somewhere, and I just feel the energy coming through him that we are one. And I am just so blessed and honored to have him as a husband.
Wow. Well, so there's the message. There's a relationship message right there. And there's a dream message right there. Oh, well, so we're going to put some energy around your continued relationship with each other and all the people that you're touching all over the world. I love it. We can do that globally. Oh, you ready to catch it?
I'm ready.
All right, and this some of it'll go to those dolphins behind you, right?
Okay.
Whoosh, there you go.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you so much. What a joy! What a joy and a blessing you are. I'm so
Thank you.
grateful that to have you on, because that's what it is. It's living a peace-filled life. And
Yes.
I don't know anyone I've ever worked with who didn't have that word peace in a vision. Oh, where I can let go and know that I'll be taken care of no matter
Yep.
what.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you all for being here and listening to my story. And, if there's anything I can do, Judy, I am right back at you. I love you. I adore you. I am so honored to have you as a friend and a colleague. And thank you so much.
Amen.